You said it's a hate that mutates.
Correct.
So your belief then is that the definition of anti-Semitism can necessarily change. Is that correct?
It's not just my belief. It is the commonly accepted understanding in both the Jewish and academic worlds.
These days, that's not what they're talking about. They're using the elastic definition.
Anti-Zion, all of that is anti-Jew. They're saying it's a worldwide problem, right? Because the world is criticizing Israel right now because they are colonizers. They are committing crimes against humanity. So we're not allowed to say any of that. So basically, if you say anything against Israel at all, then you are anti-Semitic. It shouldn't be something that exists.
I would just say off the bat, I do not accept that definitions can just mutate. That is something that I could debate that on, like the definition of a woman. I mean, and I'm saying not just about Jewish people. I think that we have to have a concrete definition to work with, because then you can just update and say, actually, I've changed that, and now this is what constitutes anti-Semitism.
This is the document, what is this? This is the HR document, HR 6090. It is the anti-Semitism bill that they put out there. Let's just go ahead and kind of take a look at this, because this is interesting. They couldn't even define in this bill what anti-Semitism, say anything against Israel, it's anti-Semitism. This bill, they had a hard time defining it.
Insanely, the bill itself never gives a definition. Only says that the definition is whatever the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance says it is.
Genetics are not identity.
Heard a secular country, a democratic country, that would kidnap little kids from Yemeni Jews in 1950 and then take them away and then tell their parents that they die. And they did that in order to instill Semitic DNA in their population. That's why DNA testing is not allowed in Israel.
Together with the Muslims and the Christians for centuries. So what happened to a lot of the
view, which is embraced by Orthodox Jews, to be sure, and for most of Jewish history over the last couple millennia, has been that Jews receive their identity in two ways, either through matrilineal descent, meaning they are born of a Jewish mother, or through conversion. In the late 20th century, the Reform movement adopted a patrilineal descent, claiming biblical precedent. And in fact, when you look at biblical texts, there are some really interesting things that suggest that it may have been patrilineal in the biblical period. But, you know, this is not a discussion for this point. You can see I have another video on it. It did definitely switch.
My family happens to have a story saying that we're descended from the Baal Shem Tov. Okay, that's part of the culture. Doesn't matter what the DNA shows.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israel, that's what we are.
You say, well, where did the name Ashkenazi came from? So a little over 1,000 years ago, as Jewish people scattered around the world had now emigrated in Europe and now were living in the Rhineland in Germany, they looked at the name Gomer in Genesis 10, and they connected Gomer with Germany, so they took on the identity of the name Ashkenaz. It has nothing to do with Ashkenaz in the Bible, which is a descendant of Japhet. It's just a name that was taken. Okay, it's that simple. Just like my last name Brown doesn't refer to the color of my skin or anything else. It was shortened from a Russian name when my grandfather came over at Ellis Island. The name got shortened to Brown. It's just a name. That's all it is. The idea that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from Japhet is a myth, 100% false, zero truth to
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of Great Millstone, honors as well to the other elders and brethren. And shalom to you supporters of this truth, this ministry, you other brothers and sisters, whoever you may be and wherever you may be, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, I got this video clip from this channel We Woke Now. He has that video up and it's still going for whatever reason. But there's a lot of truth in that video. But what I want to talk on is Dr. Brown. Dr. Brown has admitted that they went in and adopted the Ashkenaz name from another people. So they're not Japhetic, which, we agree with. No, they're not Japhetic. But you have this group, what is his name? Divine Prospect and various others who say they're Japhetic people. They're not the Edos, the Idumeans. They won't say that. They're not Amalek. They're just Japhetic people. This is what they teach. Not that some of them aren't amongst the Japhetic people, because the people are scattered. But in a whole, no. So he was right on that. They adopted on the name, took it. And it's a catch-22 for him, because he has to admit that in order to be who he is, to claim who he is. Because if you're Japhetic, then you are not from the lineage of Isaac and Jacob, right? Abraham and Isaac, right? So when you look at it, if you're not from that lineage, what we say is that they are Shemitic. I don't know why they say Semitic, but Shemitic. Just like they talk about the mother's line and then it switched and became the father's line or whatever. So it's been doing a lot to keep that mindset going in the people. So what they are is Shemitic. They just of another nation, a Shemitic, different Shemitic nation that was not promised. And when you look at Abraham, a lot of you don't know, Abraham had Isaac, who had other children, the Keturah or whatever. But Abraham had Isaac, and Isaac and Rebekah had 2 sons, and it says 2 nations in thy womb, Genesis 25 and 25. And out of that womb came Jacob and Esau. One would be called, out of Jacob was the 12 tribes of the Israelites. Out of Edom, Esau was the Edomites, right? So they still kind of got Shemitic origin, but one is a chosen, because he said, in Isaac's seed shall thou be called, right? And then Jacob got is the chosen, got the promises of the 12 tribes of Israel. So just to clear that up, so they don't go around saying, he has to say, if he say he's Shemitic, he can't say he's those people. That's what it, if he says he's Japhetic, he can't say he's those people. John 8:31, it says, then said Yahushua to those Jews which believed on him, if ye continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, we be Abraham's seed, and were never in bondage to any man. How sayest thou, ye shall be made free? Yahushua answered them, verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin, right? And the servant abideth not in the house forever, right? But the Son abideth forever. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. So I just wanted to read that. When you read it, who is he talking to? Again, he's talking to the Israelites. He's talking to his disciples. So this clearly proves he's talking to the Israelites. This is what salvation is for, and this is who it's for. Now, I also want to touch on the fact, when you look at them in a so-called, religion or ethnic, and you got a lot of black Christian men who are saying they're the ethnic Israelites, saying they are, like Dr. Brown, which I believe he's Edom, but, who knows. But Dr. Brown, they would say they're ethnic. But see, these people, they open up and anybody can become, of their religion. So this is confusing. So if the Ethiopian claims to be a Jew, right, we're claiming to be a Jew, right, which the Ethiopians in a whole is not biblical Israelites, but our people amongst them as well. So there's a problem there, because if everybody's claiming to be of that religion, what is it, the religion or their ethnicity? So we understand the ethnicity and the religion they're putting together. They're claiming to be the people of God. So if they're claiming to be the people of God and say some convert adopt and come and be a part of them, isn't he a people of God too? Or you just keep him separate? See, what they're saying is whoever converts still come under them. You're still not them. That's what they're saying. Because if a black African from Sudan decides to come in there with all his attire on and say, hey, I want to convert, well, does he become Shem now? Because that's what you're fighting for, the so-called religion. So now is he Shemitic? No, he's still who he is. So if you're claiming to be a certain religion and you're linking it with your ethnicity, then there should be nobody else joining that. That's what I see. If somebody else is joining it and you're still keeping separate your ethnicity, then you're still saying to yourself, you're over them. And they will make memorials on things that had happened. You know, a lot I ain't gonna say in this video, but there was a time of trouble that so-called happened, and they went through all these situations and came out clean on the other side, so to speak. I'm just speaking, just speaking loosely. They came out clean on the other side. They pretty much have everything established that needs to be established. Shouldn't you be excited about that? Should there be something that you're still trying to, is there something you're still trying to maintain and say, hey, it's me and I need to be remembered for my troubles, although I'm gifted with everything that has given to me? But then you have us as a people who's been totally destroyed, scattered throughout the globe. And you have this people who will take the identity and say it was them scattered throughout the globe. But when you look at the prophecies, when he said he was scatterers among all nations, how the heck do you consider to be scattered amongst all nations when you wasn't over here? This is when you came to the Western world. Deuteronomy 28:64 says that I will scatter you from one end of the earth even to the other. So how's that? How do you fit that when you wasn't scattered from one end of the earth to the other? And what was you calling yourself before the time that you got there? Before the planning of it during World War I? We would have a whole lot of questions, if we can even ask them on these type videos. 1 Chronicles 17:7. Now then you are to tell my servant David, right? That is what the Lord of hosts says. I took you from the pasture, from following the flock, to be the ruler over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone, and I have cut off all your enemies from before thee. It goes on to say, now I will make for you a name like the greatest in the land, and I will provide a place for my people Israel, and will plant them so that they may dwell in a place of their own, and be disturbed no more. No longer will the sons of wickedness oppress them as they did in the beginning, and have done since the day I appointed judges over thee, my people Israel, and I will subdue all your enemies. Says, again, it's like hitting a brick wall, so to speak, with their lies and deception. Because if that's the case, why do you put yourselves there in order to be accepted of that. And if you put yourself there and it was of the Lord, why didn't the Lord subdue all your enemies? This is the upcoming kingdom. So why is this going on in this particular situation? Again, it doesn't make sense. Isaiah 11:11, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord will set his hand again a second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and Hinoth, right? And from all the islands of the sea. So it is clearly saying you have scattered the children of Israel, right? Let's go to Joel real quick. You've scattered the children of Israel. Well, who would that be? 3:1, Joel 3:1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I should bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. So where's Jerusalem? All right, I guess they're saying they're it's the land. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down in the valley of Yahweh's judgment, and will plead with them there for my people and my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Who else would that have happened to? Who else had the nations scattered? Nations were scattered. What people were scattered and had their lands parted? It's kind of crazy how when you look at all the evidence of the curses of the Bible, it fits us 100%. Right? Even on high levels, 100%. But for whatever reason, that's ignored because you decided to put yourself in that situation and say it was you. That's what you've done. So now everybody's supposed to look and say it's you. Now, if I stole somebody's house and went in a house, the greatest identity theft, and went in a house and said, hey, it's my house, and I stole the deed, I stole the rights to it. Well, you could say it's my house now because I stole it, but who was it originally? It's not really mine. It was originally the person they stole it from because they didn't give you permission to do that. And then they got the nerve to lie and say before they got there was a desert land. When I got pictures showing in the late 1800s, early 1900s, who was living in that land? Right? Everybody knows it. But these black Christians, right, especially the men, they are the worst. Anyway, again, because of the nature of this video, I can't say but so much. You can watch the video on the brother's channel called We Woke Now, and it's the whole thing. He put all the clips in there. It's crazy. That's all I have on that. Shalom.